Does it help to put images in your emails, or does it affect the email's deliverability when you put too many images in it? That is what we are covering today, and we have a few different sections to cover because there is some gray space to it. There are occasions where it can be very beneficial, but for the most part, having an image in your email usually does hurt the deliverability. So before I get into the 3 categories that we're going to be talking about today, let me just go ahead and explain how the email engagement or deliverability algorithm, if you will, works. And this is just as much as us as marketers can analyze. Of course, I'm not the person in charge over there, but I can just go off of my data, the data that other people are seeing, and just the general knowledge that we have as community. So the thing is that if it amplifies the email's engagement overall, if putting the image in there gets you a lot more clicks, it gets people to read your email and spend more time on the email and read to the very end of it, then those metrics matter more than just the fact that you have an image in there. Now, it's always talked about that you want to have a good ratio of image to text. And of course, this is, again, just like a theory that has kind of gotten less popular over time than it used to be. But this is a thing that email spam filters are looking for a few types of ratios in your emails. One of those ratios is the bold text to unbolded text. You can't have too much bolded text. You also don't want to have too many images to regular text, and you also don't want to have too many caps lock text compared to regular text. How much is too much? That's the part that who really knows, right? Just like on Instagram when we're trying to say how many likes do you need in order for hashtags to kick in, it's not really like that concrete of an answer, but just know that email platforms, just like almost every other social media platform nowadays, is becoming more reliant on the metrics that can't be fooled and less about the metrics that are just like, oh, you can't have 2 images, that's bad, right? It's not as concrete like that. If you have 2 images and a bunch of people are liking it and you have a very good track record of email deliverability and engagement with these people in the past, then they're probably going to see it. Like someone who has liked all of your previous emails, like they've opened them, they've clicked them, they're probably going to see that email regardless of if there's a bunch of images in it or not. So ultimately, your sender reputation with each individual person is going to matter the most, just like it is on Instagram or other social media platforms. If you can relate to this, when someone likes your post, they are more likely to see the next one. And if they don't like a bunch of them in a row, then they become less likely to see the next ones. Similarly, on email, if they open it, click it, various actions like that, those all help them seeing the next one. So ultimately, that will matter more than just having a certain image limit. But just because you can potentially have too much images to image to text ratio, then I would just say, like, the simple answer for you is I would never use more than 1 image in an email, and I would have your default as being trying to not even use any images at all. So I'm going to go over a couple situations here of when it actually has worked well for me. So here is an example for those of you watching on video where this email is actually doing really well as far as open rate as well as click-through rate. And it is me doing an email about a YouTube video. So the YouTube video is about when you should hire a marketing agency. And I do about 6 lines of text. When the main goal of the email is really just to drive clicks, then you don't want to put too much info, right? You want to have just enough info to make them want to click. And that is the optimal rate to optimizing click-through rate. So what I did here is I put an overlay over the thumbnail of the YouTube video, which is just a black rectangle essentially with a low opacity so that it's transparent, but then I put like a white play button on it. So it just looks like if you would click on this image, it's going to play the video, as it will. It will open up the YouTube video, but this is a lot more click friendly than if I just had the image. So when I do have an image, you do want to make it as click friendly as possible. So ways to do that apart from this is just have some kind of button on the image where it looks like the person can click on it and thus have a link that is actually tied to the image. So in this case, it just looks like a video that you could click play on. And ultimately, if your goal is to get sales from these emails, then the click-through rate of the email is the most important metric, because you can't sell something directly from the email. You can't get a credit card there. So if you are selling, let's say, clothing, and you really wanted to represent your clothing in the email, and you wanted to show people some of the new summer collection that you came out with, it's actually better not to have any images in the email at all, and just really describe your clothing as best as possible. If you said our new summer collection is here, and it is the collection that I am proudest to debut that we've ever come out with. We have 9 new pieces that range from the light colors to neon to dark to everything in between. We've got everything you're looking for, and you just describe it as best as you can. We have a new material that is super comfortable. Check it all out here. You might think, well, don't you really need the image to make this email worth anything? Like, if I'm trying to sell the clothing, don't I have to show it? Well, you do. However, they can't buy it from the email. So the main goal is to get them to look at it on your website, not look at it in the email. So even in those cases, it's better to just describe it as best as you can, and then make it so that it's more enticing for someone to say, hey, I need to figure out what these clothes look like. It sounds like this is like the coolest collection they've ever come out with. I better go check it out. And they can't check it out in the email itself. And that's why, in most cases, doing no images will actually work the best, even for the click-through rate. But this is just one of those examples where I've seen the click-through rate is still pretty good, just making it look like a clickable image. Now, the next thing I was going to talk about is that if you do use an image in your email, you're going to want to fill out this alt text section. It might be called info. In ActiveCampaign here, it's called info. In a lot of other platforms, it's called alt text, which is the official name. But if you click on the image and then you go over to this info section, you're just going to want to describe what it is. So I'm going to put 5 questions to ask. Of course, it's not going to let me actually edit right now. All right, I won't worry about it right now, but just filling that in with text that describes the image. Right now I have just my name there, so it's acceptable to put anything here as far as deliverability goes. Email systems want to see that you have at least marked your images with the alt text, which is essentially just text describing what the image is. That will improve your deliverability. The other thing is, for the visually impaired, it makes it so they can still consume your email. So you'll want to put text here that's not just simple like this of me just putting my name, but actually describe what the image is about for someone that is visually impaired going through the email, and that helps your email deliverability overall. So that's it for putting images in your emails. Ultimately, the answer is have a default of not putting them in here, but if you are going to put them in here, just do a maximum of 1. Make sure that you put alt text in there and describe what the image is to help it get delivered. And the third thing is make sure it looks like a clickable image so that it still drives a lot of engagement overall. You can do like a play button or just something of the sort that just looks like the image is clickable, and that's going to help it do a lot better. For those of you that are brand new to the channel, if you got some value today, make sure you subscribe. I come out with info on the entrepreneur market, whether it be social media marketing, email marketing, interviewing some of the top experts, everything that is going on in the social media and entrepreneurship world today, you will get notified the quickest, especially if you got the bell on. So subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified immediately when I come out with some major updates on some of these apps so you can take advantage of them right away. All right, I'll see you next time.